Welcome back to part two. My other phone cut out of storage. I was in the middle of talking, looking down, about to drink some water, looked up. Storage wars. You ran out of storage. You want to clean up your settings? I was like, oh, baby J's. So where I was getting at, if you haven't peeped out the first video of daily motivation, first and foremost, happy Fridays, everybody, or whatever days you may happen to land on this message, because this message is timeless. So first part I was talking about, I was hesitant on doing a video for the collective because I felt like I've already done enough of these messages. But I put a mental note next to my studio that reminds me to smile more often, because when I smile, it raises my endorphins. I feel happy. It takes me back to the good moments and everything I've been through. And I should be grateful just for the simple fact I'm breathing, I'm looking at this camera, and I'm putting this message out to the world. So, and on the note I put as a mind hacking tool, that every video or everything I do that is creative or helping Mother Tiamat, it's freeing our ancestors, and it's helping individuals that may need to hear that voice of reasoning, or that voice of love, that voice of understanding, compassion, the voice of anger, the voice of diplomacy, the voice of leadership, the voice of being a life coach, the voice of I don't know what I'm doing, the voice of wanting to work with everyone, the voice of unity versus division. You know, there's a lot of personalities I experience daily that these videos help me transmute whatever I may be going through versus stewing in it and letting that situation become a kryptonite or a chain that holds me back from my progression. So see, that's how ingenious Spirit is. I did not know what I wanted to talk about, but Spirit often reminds me that if I just talk about myself when I'm feeling at the present moment, it happens to open up that eureka moment, and then I understand. And I start laughing because now it makes sense why Spirit Team wants me to do this message. Because a lot of us are going through similar situations, and a lot of us feel like the same train of thought. Oh, why should I say what no one cares about? We tell ourselves this. No one cares about XYZ. No one cares about my feelings because they're going through their own stuff, right? And if we keep on telling ourselves that, if we keep on telling ourselves no one cares about XYZ, then we happen to shoot ourselves in the foot, and we're also shooting a million other people in the foot, because we're robbing that person or a group of people that knowledge of that experience that we went through, that we think is too normalized and people don't care about, to share. And when we happen to share it, if we get past that voice of who cares, whatever, then we happen to save a lot more and help other people in more ways than we know. Because us as humans, we want to see an immediate result. We want to see that action happen in real time. So our brain tells us, okay, this is a positive result. We see this person smiling because we did X, Y, Z. And then our brain tells us some other code that, okay, since we did that, to create this euphoric moment, this is the only way we can do this action to get this reaction, because we have to visually see it. Because when we do things invisibly, like I'm talking to the camera only by myself, right? But in my mind, I know other people are watching this, and it may help or it may not, but that's a gamble I'm willing to take, because I'm seeing the results. The world is showing me that it is impactful, and my messages are solutions. So my brain needs to understand the fact that just because I'm talking to my camera, that we're still helping maybe just one person. That's good enough, right? And we're operating within ourselves, but outside of ourselves, because we're not thinking of selfish pleasures. We're thinking about the next person that may not be in the situation we're in, but we're giving them the game plan, step by steps, to hopefully get to that position, whatever that position may be in that other person's mind. Because maybe my journey may not be similar to yours, but we all have a journey of life, and there's basic principles that we all need to adhere by, right? We need to feed ourselves, right? We need to have shelter, and we need to have understanding with ourselves. We need to have understanding of how this world operates, right? And we need to get connected to our Creator, so everything else will make sense, if that makes sense, right? So it's a journey. It's not going to be overnight, but luckily for us in the age of technology, it's very easy to find yourself. As soon as I bit this apple, I was thinking about the Garden of Eden. How ironic. It's very easy to find yourself if you want that result, right? If you want to find yourself, you can. And if you don't want to find yourself, you can do that as well. It boils down to your brain believes whatever you tell it. Yes, this is a rock. It's a meteorite. I love it. I rub it. And it does what it does. And that's just that. I love using Mother Tiamat's tools. And there's nothing wrong with using tools and having crystals, because I'm always connected with God. On that note, mic drop. Still love yous. Yeah. This is a new Zoe you guys are seeing, so I'm reintroducing myself to myself. And I'm no longer letting my left shoulder be muffled. If he has something to say, if we sense any type of disrespect or shots thrown at us, we will definitely dispense. We'll defend ourselves and our character at every time. If we have a message that we see and we start twitching, or if our twitch is like, is that directed towards me? We'll comment on it right away. We leave paragraphs. All right? It's all about defending my character, my legacy, for my kids, when they see this. I don't want them to ever look back and like, why didn't you do this, Uncle Zoe? Why didn't Grandfather Zoe speak up for himself? Why did they all believe he was yada yada? No, we slap bitches out in this joint. Bitches stand for guys or women. Okay. That being addressed, if you ever see me act a little defensive, it's because we love ourselves so entirely that we understand. He talks with his mouth full. I do at times, right? It's very rude of me, right? We defend our character at all times because we see in the future. We don't allow nobody to say something to us, but we do understand the fact that we will be misunderstood a lot of the times, and we can't. This is one of the few times you'll hear me use that word can't. But I'm not going to use that word. I'm going to say, we understand the simple fact that we're not going to be understood by everyone, and we're happy with that. That's the best way I can say that. We're happy with that. We go to sleep and have a cosmic rest with no problem. Instead of using the word can't, we can't have everyone understand. We're like, we understand the fact that we may be mysterious, and for those that don't understand, they fear what they don't understand, right? And so that fear turns into envy. That fear turns into making assumptions of that character, just so your inner core can be more comfortable with yourself, because you gave that unique entity that you can't explain. You gave that unique item or whatever a definition so you can go to sleep easier at night. That's the best way to say it for layman's terms. I'm not even going to try to be all sounding like a professor here. For us humans as vessels, if we don't understand something, we fear what we don't know. And then we attempt to give that, whatever it may be, a definition so we can say, okay, well, we define that. So if we ever come across this in our future, we can take this one example and possibly put it in the same category, right? That's all we're doing. It just makes us feel more comfortable. That's a mic drop in itself. I've done it. Confirmation, bitches. I'm not sitting here talking down to anybody. I've done the same things that my ancestors just told me to share with you guys and girls. That's all it is. So this is part 2 of part 1. We're 10 minutes in. I don't think it's going to be much longer of a download. But the premise of this download to begin with was for me to not hesitate on my instinct anymore. Because this is more important than just Alonzo wanting to do something. I'm not doing this for myself no longer. I'm doing this for God in the service of others. The word must be spread. The frequency will be raised. And we will love here. Okay? And love comes in many formats. So people will have their definition of what a role model should look like, what an influencer should look like, whatever you want to put on whoever you're looking at. I understand you're going to have your own definition of how that example should be in whatever context you may be holding this example to. And on that note, if we can narrow the gap, if I can help narrow the gap of understanding one another, because we're all unique. We're all unique in so many formats that I want that I like to be the pioneer, not the pioneer, because I don't ever like categorizing anything. To a degree, I mean, come on, I'm working on this whole being a life coach and being transparent. I would like to be an example that communication is very important on all levels. So hopefully, if you ever encounter individuals like me, I can be that example to show whoever that communication can be utilized, even though if the masses don't understand what this form of communication is all about. If that makes any sense, hopefully it does. If not, rewind it a few times if you feel like you have different perspectives in life. It's just like you watch a movie, right, when you're young, and then when you get younger, wink, wink, that same movie you watch when you're 8 years old, and then you watch it when you're 22, it hits different. Mic drop. How is that? You've had more experience in life, right? You're not just looking at that movie for all the visual effects and the action. You're looking at that movie now more of a psychological thriller, or you're just looking at it in different layers because you're seeing how this character in this movie relates to your story, your life story. Then you understand why that character is doing certain things, because maybe you had a similar experience. And then that movie definitely hits differently because now you see why the story is the way it is and why it plays out because of this person's unique journey that was combined with other unique individuals' journey. Then you see each character's story differently and their narrative differently, because everyone is on the world stage with a mission, with multiple missions, to hopefully have people understand them so they can become a community and won't have to feel like they're fending for one another or fending for themselves to fit in this crazy world, or not crazy, this unique world. And then they have their own personal battles they're going through. Then the world that has an organization of, like, let's just say the world has parental figures that have the power and the organizational skills to control the masses and to let us know what the world's doing in a collective, to share that message with us, so we're always updated to what's happening worldwide, because we all have our own personal journeys, right? Then there's world monitors that tell the masses, hey, this is what's going on out here, you know what I mean, worldwide, collectively. So here's a heads up, here's a bulletin, right? So everyone has their own journeys that we're going through, and if we don't have order, then that leads to chaos. And imagine if your own personal world is not in order. Then you go outside in the real world, or let me not say the real world, because everyone's worlds are real to a degree, if you know what I'm saying. If you operate in the everyday world with your world, internal world, in chaos, I can only imagine how much more tension and pressure that can apply on the individual mind. And when you have confusion in the mind, that takes away the organizational skills, and then it becomes a fight or flight syndrome. And if you operate off of fight or flight, like a lot of us have operated off of, then that can be very detrimental to a lot of people's health. And then you find out that you're lost because you haven't dealt with the internal world issues that you have had bestowed upon you due to the cards you're dealt, how you deal with situations when they arise. Do you get upset with them? Do you dismiss them off quickly? Do you replace those with hobbies so you never address those triggers? And then the wiser you get, those triggers are still there, and you find out you created other habits due to the fact that you never addressed the first issue that arose in your life journey. And then you had another issue arrive in your life's journey, and you keep on compiling each life experience in one category. Or since you're not organized, since your internal life's in chaos, you're not even organizing those life experiences so they become a spider web. And each of those spider webs leads you down a certain emotional path. And then you have formed your own personal labyrinth, which is a maze in your own head. So you're always constantly lost, and you're trying to find the exit in your own head. At the same time, dualistically, the world has its own flow of things that's going on, and your brain wants to capture that as well. So that gets immersed inside your own personal labyrinth, right? Your spider web you created with issues you haven't dealt with. And then you find yourself like the Joker in a straitjacket in Arkham Asylum. You know, because it's hard to operate in this society if you have no direction with your own personal life, you know? But enough reading Rambo. I know that's a good daily motivation amongst Think Differently. So this is a hybrid episode. This is an episode of Think Differently. I like the timing, 19 minutes, 26 seconds or 25 seconds. And Think Differently. It gets us thinking differently how we operate in this world, and how personal issues not addressed can really be hindrance. It can be really hindering to our own personal growth. Confirmation, bitches. Walt Disney birds. I may not even do a part 1. This may just be the whole video. The one that cut out, I think it cut out for a reason. Yeah. I'm just going to keep it moving. I'm going to load this joint up and bada bing, bada boomies. But it's already a beautiful day because I'm alive and breathing. I'm eating healthier now. I'm filling up bowls with just nature's candy. I'm still eating candy. Don't get me wrong. I'm crushing some fruit gummy candies. But, you know, I need to work on it. But I'm getting myself together slowly but surely. I need to stop saying slowly but surely. I'm getting myself together one day at a time. I'm not going to curse myself. You know what I mean? These words are very powerful, so we got to make sure we know what we're putting into our orbit. Oh. So last jewel for today. Maybe. When you're eating apples, don't throw away the apple when you get to the core. Eat the whole thing, eat the seeds. I believe the seeds are really good for your heart and your brain. So yeah, I believe like eat the seeds of all fruit and veggies. Eat them joints. Yeah, all right. It's like an old myth back in the day. Don't swallow seeds or you're gonna have a watermelon grow out your stomach. You know, I was scared back in the day. Back in the day when my aunts used to tell me that, don't be swallowing the seeds. You'll have something grow in your stomach. Shit, I avoided seeds like the plague. Huh? But now finding out the seeds will save your life. Even more than the flesh around it, you know what I'm saying? But that's a mic drop. I love each and every one of you. Give yourself a hug and kiss yourself for how gorgeous and how handsome you are. And don't ever compare your beauty to someone else's. You can learn off of people's story. I know I talk with my mouth open a lot. Okay. I normally don't do this. I know we have all done that at times. You know, you can learn from other people's story, but don't let someone else's path hinder you from growing, because God gave us all unique paths for that reason. So God can learn from all of us, and we can come together as a beautiful mosaic piece of art. But I can go on and on. I love each and every one of you. Love yourself first and foremost. Love yourselves first and foremost, so you can attract genuine love towards yourself. Respect yourself first and foremost, so you can have respect reciprocated back to you, loyalty. We can go on and on. Just care for yourself to the fullest. So when you have anyone encounter you, and if it mirrors the way you carry yourself, still be cautious, because people are very good at cloning and mimicking. But everything's about energy and vibration. So if you're good at reading energy and vibrations, you can tell a clone from the official. All right. I'm official like a referee with a whistle. You already know. I love every one of you again. Take care and enjoy your whatever days it is. But on my planet, it's Fridays. Love yous. Take care.